in the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
In our previous episode of the Paracast with Avril Seal, where we talked about Sasquatch, we ran into all sorts of weird problems getting Chris to work with Skype. He would hear us, we could not hear him. And finally, he had to downgrade his version of Skype. But Skype came out with a brand new version where it extols the group calling features, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? If you can't make a group call, who cares about the features? So that was really kind of a bummer, but we finally made it work. But this is more interesting. I am now using the new version of Skype. In fact, it was just updated again. Not that we're not still having a problem with Skype. For some reason, when I connected to Chris, it also called up his iPhone with no way to disconnect that iPhone from the group without ending the group and starting over again. This is what we call an improved version of Skype.
Yeah.
It's version 8 and higher. If you want to use version 7 on the Mac, I would recommend it because it will be less troublesome. On the other hand, the audio quality is a tad better with the new version. So there is that. We have Alejandro Rojas, who's joining us from Open Minds. Of course, he's one of those guilty parties responsible for the International UFO Congress. And I bet Alejandro, that you're working feverishly getting that together.
This very second, I am working on that. Yes.
He's multitasking.
I am, but no worries. I've got the last cut and paste, and then you have me 100%.
Okay, so now we're getting 98% because he's so good at it. Is that correct, sir?
98. I can divide up into 2 or 3 separate things, and I give each somewhere a percentage. But of course, whenever I'm on this show, it's 90 or above. That's necessary because to deal with you two characters.
Well, we appreciate that compliment, sir, and we resemble that remark. But more to the point here, when Alejandro does that, he becomes 3 people. So therefore, from 3 different Earths, there's an Alejandro, and they land on this Earth to multitask.
I think there's some kind of multi-dimensional stuff that goes on too.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, they also killed net neutrality today. So we're going to have all sorts of fun.
Whoa, you're kidding. It actually passed?
Mm-hmm.
And that
it wasn't even vote. Yeah, they just nuked it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Mm-hmm.
What this means, folks, is that an internet provider, a Comcast, an AT&T, Verizon, or Cox, this is strictly U.S. thing, of course. An internet provider can throttle connections. They decide they don't want you to get specific sites, they can do it. If they decide Netflix plays too fast, they could make it run slower. If one company owning their own cable company doesn't want you to stream DirecTV online, or DirecTV now it's called, or Sling TV from Dish Network, and they want it slower, what are they going to do? They could make it slower, and there's nothing you can do. It's not that you can go to the internet provider across the street, because more than likely where you live, there is no other internet provider.
Oh, man. And you don't want to talk politics, so I won't, but the other side of the aisle, as they say, the conservative side of the aisle is way overreaching. They're shooting themselves. Forget the foot. They're shooting themselves in the head. After they're done totally tearing apart what's left of this democratic system, they're not going to be a viable party. They're going to totally disenfranchise themselves from their base and everybody else. And it's just they're so butt ugly stupid. I mean, let's get real.
Okay, that's the end of the politics, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever your opinion, I'm sure there's something there to disagree with.
Well, I'm telling everybody what they already know and what some people don't want to hear.
Well, you know what? It's also, we're doing a radio show here where we talk about things that people may not want to hear. We're telling them about Bigfoot. We're telling them about poltergeists. We're telling them about ghosts. We're telling them about UFOs. And we're looking, yes, at areas where those things aren't real or people making up stories, but we are also looking for the reality behind them, not the stuff you see on reality TV where they're doing a docudrama or something. We're talking about the real thing, and that's not necessarily politically correct. But on the other hand, when we get into politics too heavily, except in terms of things like UFO disclosure and such, well, then people retreat to their own bubbles. And I'll say this, regardless of what political viewpoint you have, the only way to really understand what's going on is to leave the bubble and look at the other side. See what they have to say. Maybe they've got a point, you know? Just find out for yourself. And also, don't limit your reading to a few sites, say, in the U.S. Read BBC News, read Canadian news, read news from other countries, see how they view us or the issues we're concerned about. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just saying get more information so you can come to a conclusion yourself about what's right. That's my soapbox.
Yep. I couldn't agree more, and I'm sure Alejandro will echo my sentiment.
Certainly.
It's really important to be informed people, and when you see such reactionary politics that are touting themselves as one thing but are blatantly lying to us right to our faces, you know, when are you going to say enough is enough? I mean, they're setting up the conditions for a slow motion civil war in this country, and it's really going to be very, very disconcerting for a lot of people as they flounder around in their bubble, as Gene puts it. And I think your admonishment, Gene, is well taken, and everybody take notes.
And that's true about the subjects we deal with, too. So, for example, one of the most interesting debates, Alejandro, this is something maybe you haven't been checking lately because you're so busy doing your other stuff. We have a very active debate going on about the validity of the ETH theory about UFOs. In fact, we featured this on an episode of the Paracast 2 weeks ago. But the point is here is that debate will go on endlessly, and maybe it's well beyond its prime in terms of learning anything. But it shows here that you have to debate these issues. You don't accept them. You look for other possibilities. Anyway, Alejandro, now that you're with us, and we want to really focus our attention on you, the next International UFO Congress is going to be in February, right?
Yeah, I was going to say the one thing that I would add to that is that just what you guys are saying is important, the debate. Because unfortunately, what does happen is some people don't want to debate. They're like, I know this is it and that's it. But the discussion is really important for everybody to grow and gain knowledge. And, you know, that's kind of getting into the UFO Congress. That's kind of the perspective there, is that it's trying to create a cross-section of the field to, as best as possible, demonstrate all of the different viewpoints out there, even though especially listeners to the show who have heard me on the show before know that some, if not many, of the perspectives that are presented at times are certainly not my viewpoint. But, you know, they're people doing honest work, I think, for the most part, people who believe. Sometimes we're fooled, but often it's people who believe they're onto something and they're working towards discovery. And not to speak for you two, but at least who am I to say that I'm right on everything?
Well, you could say it if you want. Of course, we will all disagree with you speaking.
Right.
Anyway, we'll continue our next segment. Alejandro Rojas of Open Minds.tv. And of course, he's a guiding light behind the International UFO Congress. Going to ask him about that in a moment. You're here with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
We also have swag. You know, we have all these exclusive Paracast things that you can buy We've got like, I guess, 60 or so different items, and entails T-shirts, sleeves for notebook computers, iPad cases, mouse pads, the Paracast Jumbo tote bag, all sorts of T-shirts and jackets and stuff like that for men and women. We have a Paracast aluminum water bottle. All this stuff, you go to store.theparacast.com, store.theparacast.com. What makes it special is that the items are the best quality, great T-shirts, fabrics, and they have our official logo on them. That's what makes them special, in multiple sizes and colors. We even have stuff for children, stuff for women, stuff for men. We have all sorts of sizes, like small up to X large. A lot of good stuff. That's the swag from the Paracast. You go to store.theparacast.com, stop by, and take a shopping tour.
Does the current world crisis in North Korea or our domestic crisis right here in America concern you? Well, I know it concerns me. My friends over at Legacy Food Storage have solutions in the event there's the inevitable. What's the inevitable? Civil unrest, a run on your local grocery store. And here's my question to you. If this happens, how do you feed your children? How do you feed your grandchildren? Legacy Food Storage has the solutions. In fact, they can help you implement a simple plan to take care of your needs in the event of the inevitable. By calling them right now, I have authorized them to give you a special 20% discount at checkout by simply using GCN. Call 888-543-7345 or visit them at legacyfoodstorage.com. That's 888-543-7345 or visiting them at legacyfoodstorage.com. Make sure you use GCN at checkout for an incredible 20% discount. Don't be a victim. Take control of your life now.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
Message and data rates may apply.
Warning, texting while driving is illegal just about everywhere. So if you want to take advantage of a life-changing LASIK offer, pull over when you can, because a special opportunity is just one text away. The LASIK Vision Institute is offering absolutely free evaluations and dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK. Text the keyword CLEAR55 to 350350 to get the benefit of FDA-approved LASIK technology that gives the majority of patients 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Text to schedule your free appointment to see if LASIK is right for you. When you text CLEAR55 to 350350, you'll also get an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Today, it's your turn. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you've always wanted for a fraction of what others charge. This great offer is just a text away. Text CLEAR55 to 350350. That's CLEAR55 to 350350.
Hi, I'm Marcia Miller from Mud Pie. Every new parent dreams of bringing their baby home for the first time. But some babies are born too sick or too soon to come home right away. That's why Mud Pie supports the life-saving research and programs of the March of Dimes, the leading nonprofit organization for pregnancy and baby health. Help us give every baby a fighting chance so that more babies can come home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.org.
We'd like to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And don't forget to visit our famous Paracast community forums at forum.theparacast.com.
I notice when Chris says the Paracast, he has not lost his Sasquatch voice.
That was very Sasquatchy.
Sasquatchy?
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel in the mornings.
Squatchified.
Okay, let's stop the squatching here and continue. So, Alejandro, International UFO Congress. What are you guys planning?
The International UFO Congress. Yeah, we've got a lot of great stuff. I wouldn't say we have one major headliner, But I don't think that's an issue, because what is also fun about the Congress, which nobody else does, I don't believe, and you guys can agree or disagree, I know you will, is that, I think you'll agree with this though, is that we bring a broader viewpoint, or a broader amount of topics and people to these than any other conference. Most conferences have, and lots of people complain about this, the same dozen names or so. And sure, we do pull from that dozen people, but we rotate them. We try not to have the same person for, not only the same people we had last year, but that we try not to have the same people we've had for the last couple of years. And I think Chris is happy that he's almost out of the 2-3 year window here. So, because he spoke not too long ago about his wonderful book about cattle mutilations. So we've got a lot of people here, some of which this field is so diverse that one person's favorite researcher, or someone that they're really into, might be someone that, many others don't know about. And that's what makes it kind of fun. So we try to bring as many people as possible that are doing some work out there, and hopefully something fresh and new, so people can get a really wide view of a lot of material, much of which they probably didn't even know existed. And I think that's important, because when you're just focused on, let's say, those dozen people, it feels like those are the only people doing anything. That's the entire view, or the entire field is just what these dozen people are doing. And that's not the case at all. There are thousands of people out there, as you bring guests every week to the show, doing really cool stuff. So it's fun to get these people to be able to share some of that stuff. And I think when people leave the Congress, they can see, like, wow, there are a lot of people doing a lot of interesting things, much more than I had any idea about. And many of these people are intelligent and have great credentials. And so that's really exciting. One of the people we've signed up, and I just updated the schedule. That's what I was doing just a second ago. And we haven't even listed this guy on the speaker list yet, because we haven't gotten all of his information. But this gentleman's Alan Holt. He's been working with NASA for decades. Behind the scenes, he's been working in the UFO field, consulting with MUFON and some other groups. And finally, he's feeling more comfortable to come forward and speak. So he's going to be talking about, the humanity becoming an interstellar species, and what does that mean? And what if we aren't the only ones out there, and that sort of stuff. That's one that I'm really excited about, that we just signed up. People will have some insight into. I think you guys will probably be excited. Robbie Graham from the UK has an interesting perspective. He wrote the book Silver Screen Saucers, and he is really excited because he's going to use this as a platform to kind of, I think, to give the UFO field the what for, kind of say, hey, this is where I think we're off the rails, and this is where we need to go. And that's always fun to have some controversy.
Yeah. But plus his book, Reframing the Debate, with the collection of very, very smart, insightful contributors, I think, is one of the more exciting books of the past year.
We've done, by the way, a number of episodes on UFOs, Reframing the Debate. We're in close touch with Robbie about that. So just the opportunity to meet him is something we're really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And it was hard, because he said he's done with the UFO field. And I've been trying to get him to do this and other things, and our timing's never been right. He said, you know what, I'm going to give it one last go. I figure if I'm going to leave the UFO field, and, we hear this sometimes, where I'm out of the UFO field and they don't go anywhere. They may go away for a few weeks or a few months. He may really go away. I don't know.
Anthony Sanchez left for 2 weeks.
Yeah, a great example. Even UFO Today, that site that, he went away for maybe a few months. Norio Hayakawa, he went away for maybe a month or something like that. But Robbie said, at least I need to kind of do this. I need to use this platform, which, I think arguably or not, is probably the biggest UFO platform as far as an event, to say my piece before I move on. So I'm really excited to have that, for our event to be the place where he's going to do that.
I have to tell you here that it's an interesting lineup of speakers. I mean, a few people there we're not super fans of, but there are other people that I know and I like to hook up with again. Of course, William Burns. He's been kind of out of it since UFO magazine kind of crashed and burned. And I'm really anxious to talk to him and see what he's been doing.
Yeah, Bill Burns. That's going to be a fun one. He's going to be talking about presidents and UFOs. I'm not sure if the book's out, or I know it's not out, actually. I did get a preview copy of this book. That he's got a book on presidents and UFOs. Now, he has, obviously, if people have seen the show UFO Hunters, a very interesting perspective on things. And so it's going to be fun to have him back. And one of the cool things about Bill, and these are usually, I think, exciting lectures, he's not using PowerPoint. And a lot of people will say, why don't they just get up there and talk and not do PowerPoint? Well, that's what he's going to do. So that ought to be a lot of fun, lots of energy. He's very resolute about his convictions. The things he feels he's got figured out, he feels very strongly about. And his perspectives are pretty fringe. I mean, they're some pretty wild ideas. It'll be fun because like you said, we haven't heard from him for a while. So we're going to be learning things, no doubt. And I worked with him recently. I wrote a story for Halloween on this other book that he had that came out about Tesla and Edison and one of their last projects, which was a ghost telephone, essentially. Really interesting book. That was a really interesting topic. So
wait. A ghost telephone. So I can call my brother who's on the other side.
No, they failed.
Oh, well. So I can't call my brother. Maybe I don't want to call my brother.
Unfortunately, you can't. Tesla, of course, had more wild ideas, and he thought this was possible. And he and Marconi, the guys who invented radio, felt that they were receiving signals possibly from Mars. They thought maybe they were getting alien signals, or possibly these things were ghosts. Edison thought this was completely ridiculous, and then he got an assistant who was a medium, which was a big deal during that period of time in the 20s. You know, mediumship and all of this was a big craze. And he believed his assistant really had this ability to talk to ghosts. So he thought, wow, if this is real, maybe we can somehow detect spirits and things like that. He came across, more of a scientific, there must be some sort of matter or some sort of material they're made out of that I'll be able to register on a piece of equipment. And so he set forth to create such a piece of equipment. He did create something. He did feel that maybe it worked, but he passed before he really made much progress on that, if there's even any progress that can be made on such a device. Yeah, really interesting story, a great book.
We're going to have more with Alejandro and Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
People search the internet for everything, including you. With a few clicks, information from your past can be quickly discovered, from business deals gone wrong to misleading reviews, negative articles, and unflattering images. Studies show 78% of people search for someone online before doing business with them. Will they find the real you? With ReputationDefender.com, you can establish a positive internet presence. ReputationDefender.com pioneered the field with over a decade of experience, serving thousands of successful individuals and businesses. We use patented, award-winning systems to boost positive content and suppress negative material. Don't let the internet define you. Take control of your reputation today with ReputationDefender.com. For your quick, free reputation analysis, call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771 or visit reputationdefender.com.
What looks good under your Christmas tree and tastes even better? Big Berkey water filters. Yes, the gift of clean water. A gift that provides a great foundation for achieving good health in the lives of your loved ones. A Big Berkey water filter gives them protection from bacteria, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, pesticides and herbicides, VOCs, and more. And best of all, a Big Berkey water filter is a gift that lasts for many years with no additional investment. And that saves time and money in filter replacements that other water filters require and are even powerful enough to purify treated, untreated, or even stagnant pond water. As always, all orders over $50 are shipped free, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Order online at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com, spelled Big, B-E-R-K-E-Y, waterfilters.com, or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Gift well this Christmas. Give a Big Berkey water filter.
Attention type 2 diabetics. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA has warned that Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR and other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes cause an increased role in amputations of the toes, feet, and legs. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-475-7607. That's 800-475-7607. Again, 800-475-7607. Call now. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. www.injuryhelpdesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hi, this is Don Ecker, and you are tuned into the Paracast. Let me tell you what, you're going to hear stuff here that you probably won't hear anywhere else. Hear that, George Snorri?
See, Alejandro has this other voice that comes out under certain circumstances. By the way, we are going to soon be upgrading our forums, the Paracast forums, with a new version of the software. And if you want to see what it's like, if you go to our rockoids.com forums, forum.rockoids.com, that's the sci-fi forum, you get an idea what it looks like. We're just waiting for some further updates before we can do it. But it will give us an advantage, not just a new look and faster performance, but we may there be able to accept more methods of payment for Paracast Plus. Right now it's just PayPal, although you could use a credit card with PayPal and not have to be a PayPal member. But there is an option out there to use a wire transfer from your checking account to ours, and we have to see if that will take recurring payments, monthly payments and such. So we're looking into that, maybe even Bitcoin, and that's a lot of the new options. Speaking of the Paracast Plus, we've had some great episodes of our After the Paracast podcast, an exclusive feature of the Paracast Plus. We also give you a version of the show free of the network ads, better quality audio. Get lots of stuff. Plus.theparacast.com. That's plus.theparacast.com. We have Alejandro Rojas of Open Minds TV. Of course, he's one of the guiding lights behind the International UFO Conference, scheduled from February 14th to 18th.
That is correct.
And we're looking at different guests. Some, of course, controversial, like Stephen Bassett and Linda Moulton Howe.
Donald Schmidt.
And you see, he doesn't even talk about Roswell there. His lecture's on, did J. Allen Hynek know the truth about UFOs? And the question I have, Alejandro, is when you invited Schmidt to come on, did you say no Roswell?
No, not at all. In fact, we try not to censor much. Sometimes people say, well, here's a host of topics I have that I think are pretty interesting. In this case, and I think we know why, he decided to move away from Roswell a bit, even though he has a book out, a new book on the children of Roswell and essentially what they have to say. This is a topic I often talk to him about Hynek because I'm a big fan of Dr. J. Allen Hynek's, and he worked for Hynek. In fact, it's an interesting story how he came across Roswell. He was working for CUFOS, the organization that Hynek had started after he worked with the Air Force investigating UFOs. And Hynek essentially had assigned him and others to Roswell. So they went out to Roswell when this thing all came about, and Stanton Friedman was saying, hey, there could have been a UFO crash out here. And he thought it was all ridiculous. He thought, we're going to be able to solve this and see this is just ridiculous in a weekend. And here he is decades later, still looking into it.
Yeah. Yeah, the tar baby.
So, yeah, right. And so, yeah, I think it's a great I know he's been wanting to talk. We've been talking about this. He's been wanting to talk to about the Hynek and Hynek's research for quite some time. So I think this ought to be interesting.
You know what else I'm noticing looking at your speakers list, Alejandro? And I know Karen has been involved in also selecting guests and stuff. And I'm noticing half the presenters are women. Mm-hmm. I mean, congratulations and good for you guys.
Well, I'm glad
that half the presentations and presenters are women. And I think that's an important step forward to kind of break up the good old boys club sort of vibe that's been going on in the field for far too long. I think women have as much, if not more in some cases. Sho Costa's work, very admirable. Linda's work, of course, to a certain point, is very admirable. And I think it's important for conferences to, use this as an inspiration to invite more women. Far too long, I think men have dominated this field, and it's kudos goes out to you guys, and congratulations. Before we get too far along, what is the actual status of the Congress? I've been hearing rumors over the past few months that John Rayo and Angela aren't as involved as much as they have been in the past, and that you and Karen have pretty much have pretty much taken this thing over. Is this true?
Yeah, that is true. Again, I'm essentially an employee, but I do a lot of the coordination. But yeah, Karen purchased it. So Karen owns it. So the new company, and you'll see this all over the place, is Out of This World Media and Events, which is what Karen created. And so she owns it. John no longer owns it. Angela Rayo, John Rayo's daughter, then is not involved. She was, looking out for the interest of her father and works for her father. So,
right. Well, she was kind of the managing director for the last probably 7 or 8 years, I would imagine.
Yeah. So she has kind of had that, kind of a fiscal oversight and stuff, handling registration and stuff for the conference. So, yeah. So now they're still involved. Open Minds, John still owns Open Minds, which I work for. And now Karen owns the Congress, which I also work for. And we still have a partnership in that. Open Minds is still a major sponsor. In fact, we were at the office just yesterday talking with John and working on some stuff. But so there's still a very tight relationship.
Right.
But
But he's off the hot seat now with his board of directors and
Yeah, so he's off that hot seat as far as the finances and
right.
But he's still, you wouldn't know it. It was more like he is just wanting to retire, and although we handle most everything, he feels very responsible when it comes to the conference. So it's kind of a burden on his shoulders. Right. So he's trying to kind of unload so he can more and more truly retire, and that's what this was about.
The baby's old enough to get out of the house,
Yep. Yeah. So it's a lot of discovery for us. People who have been coming to the conference for a little while have seen, we're maybe a couple weeks behind from last year on some notifications and stuff like that, but not much, just because we had this corporation to set up, which Karen has spearheaded, and it's been a lot of work. But otherwise, things are going very smoothly. And you noticed one of the changes. I mean, I very much seek to have as many women represented as possible. However, I have a certain perspective when it comes to this field, which is, I think very similar to you all. And so when it comes to kind of the nuts and bolts side of things, gets a little more difficult to find speakers, female speakers along those lines. There are some. There's some great ones. Cheryl Costa, Debbie Ziegelmeyer isn't speaking this year, but I think she's great. But there's a number of others, and so it was really helpful for Karen to come in and be able to not only be able to bring that side of things, but then also she's got the final call. So I can't trump her and say, no way, that's too crazy. But it brings a good yin and yang, which is always very, very important. One thing, and especially in these days when it comes to gender and race issues, and I learned this a long time ago. I was really involved, especially with race issues in college and younger, is that you just cannot sympathize completely. You cannot understand the perspective of someone else and different shoes. You really need that representation. You need someone you trust who is from that environment to bring that perspective and to really represent that side of things. And now that we have Karen as the top role, we've got someone here who can bring that feminine energy and really represent that. And I know we all like to feel that, well, I think great of women and other races, so I think I can be balanced, but it's just not possible. We haven't lived those same experiences. You need that input from these different groups of people. And I think this conference is an example. Karen's input, you can see a definite influence there, and a very positive one, I think.
Now, I'm looking at another thing which is positive, and it may be a minor thing. The site has been redesigned, and it's much more readable than it used to be. It used to be dark gray backgrounds with black type, and a lot of times old people like me couldn't see anything. And now
well,
it's really easy. I kept complaining to you too, but I don't think it's because you listened to me. But we'll go into that in our next segment. Alejandro Rojas, Gene and Chris, you're in
the Paracast.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
Do you need a website? Well, you can get a great deal on hosting services with Namecheap's legendary coupon code. They're offering substantial hosting discounts on shared hosting, business hosting, VPS hosting, reseller hosting, and even dedicated servers. Namecheap is preferred by millions. It's backed by a money-back guarantee. Use the coupon code LEGENDARY to cash in on the special deal at Namecheap.com, Namecheap.com.
First came Attack of the Rockoids, and it was a critically acclaimed success. And now there's The Coming of the Protectors. A former military intelligence man is contacted by a space woman in a dream that turns out to be a nightmare because evil forces on her distant planet are planning to conquer the Earth. This is gripping science fiction of the classic kind. Attack of the Rockoids and The Coming of the Protectors. Find out more at rockoids.com. That's Rockoids, ROCKOIDS.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Actual testimonials from real Numana customers.
I've tried all kinds of food storage, and Numana is by far the best.
I'm a single mom with 2 teenage boys and a full-time job. I don't always have time to cook a 4-course meal. That's where Numana has been such a blessing. I can spend less time in the kitchen and more time on what matters most, like helping with homework.
Find out for yourself. Order online at thepowermall.com. That's thepowermall.com. Numana is...
Food stores I love to eat. Yum!
Thepowermall.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Hi, this is Bryce Abel. I'm the producer of Dark Skies, the co-author of AD After Disclosure, and you are listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
A little bit later, as we progress past the International UFO Congress, we are going to talk about the world of the paranormal in 2017, since we're running out of episodes for this year. We've got like 2 more after this. And next week we'll have Rosemary Ellen Guiley. Alejandro, so I was saying your site looks better, much more readable now. And I really appreciate that. I'm sure it's not because of anything I said.
It was 100% had to do with what you said, because, I'm also an Apple person, and I know you are too. So most people did not see those issues that you had told me about. And it was frustrating for me too. And so the reason it didn't get done quickly is because it took me a very long time to troubleshoot the issue, to figure out what the heck was causing this problem. And funny enough, it was a WordPress setting that is supposed to optimize the Retina experience. So it's supposed to optimize the Apple experience. And I turned that off in my troubleshooting, and it solved the issue. I didn't even figure that would happen. I was just going to observe the difference in my troubleshooting steps, and that was it. So funny enough, that resolved the issue, thank goodness. But I wouldn't have tried so hard if you wouldn't have been pushing me, and especially when you kept reminding me. That reminded me I got to go back and keep troubleshooting this issue till I figure it out, and finally we did figure it out.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad it was that. Of course, WordPress is like the most used platform for internet sites. So it kind of explains why you were using that. But I'm glad you see that sometimes what are called optimizations don't work. What he's talking about Retina displays is that almost every Apple product out there right now, their Macs, are all using Retina or higher displays. Retina being that at normal viewing distance, the pixels are so small because there's so many of them, you cannot see the individual dots they make up. Everything is pristine and clear. And that's what Retina is all about. And a lot of times you have to optimize a site to look best in Retina, especially when you have a 5K display, which is much more than Retina. It's for movie making. And we won't get into that. Anyway, I'm glad to see all the interesting speakers. Obviously, there are a few there I might disagree with, but I think it's a really good selection. You're not trying to convince people of secret space programs.
Yeah, there is honestly, and I surprisingly haven't been given any gruff for this, and I could understand if people were, because I was vocal about my concern for the MUFON Symposium and how they took this angle. But we do have someone who's going to be talking somewhat about that. But at least this person is credible and is not someone who's making some bombastic claims that cannot be backed up nor unfortunately, I feel some of those people in this arena are just complete charlatans making stuff up to make money. But this gentleman is T.L. Keller, really interesting guy. He's been an engineer working in the space programs his entire life. Now, I don't put as much weight into these quotes as others do, but he's one of the guys who, you guys will remember his name, and it's eluding me right now, but had been there when Lockheed Skunk Works engineer had said, like, we could take ET back home.
Jan Harzen.
Yeah, but Jan was there because TL and Jan are really good friends, and they have been for years. But it was the Lockheed guy who had said these things.
Ben Rich.
Ben Rich, exactly. So TL was with Jan when all that happened. But TL is the guy who brought Jan, because TL is the guy who worked for Jet Propulsion Laboratories and all of these places. But he's going to explore this idea of if that would even be possible, and these large craft that people are seeing go over these sightings of these large cigar-shaped spacecraft, and then speculate as to what they might be from someone who is very knowledgeable about technology. So I think that's going to be really interesting. So TL, yeah, I'm excited to have him. We've been trying to get for a while. He wrote this book, The Total Novice's Guide to UFOs. Then he moved to Australia for a few years, but he's been back a little bit here. So yeah, we're excited to have TL. That's the only one that touches on that topic a bit, and we don't, not that we mind if people touch on that, but we don't have the same, for lack of a better term, goofballs that they had.
Can we quote you? Do you want to mention any names?
I will not mention names. I don't think
we want to get you into trouble here. Drop one name. One name. Come on now.
Drop one name. Let me think of a name. I'll drop a name, but it's not so much calling this person out. Well, a little bit, but Gary McKinnon, I wrote a story on Gary McKinnon that was about what Gary McKinnon really saw. And it was a very controversial story. It's referenced quite a bit still, because no one's put together what he said happened, using his words in his interviews. And instead, people create these grand conspiracies and ideas about these little bits of piece of information that they have, which is unfair. It's not as big of a story as people say. I mean, the part of him going to prison, and then, they wanted to extradite him, and that whole battle that even Obama got involved with, that was a big deal. That's a cool story. I mean, Hillary and Obama both had to speak on this topic, but not about the UFO part. The UFO part, he admits he was drunk and stoned when he was doing this stuff. He didn't save anything, didn't screenshot anything. So we're hearing what he thinks he might have seen when he was drunk and stoned. The veracity behind these claims that aren't that exciting in the first place aren't very strong. I think that's an example. That's maybe as far, but that's as far as I'll go. I did speak to Andrew Basiago at MUFON, and surprisingly, he obviously was aware of my perspective, but he was willing to speak with me. He said he agrees that he doesn't have any proof, but him and Dr. Michael Sala are going to get proof. And I told him, well, I'll pay attention at that point, but up until now, and luckily he was very nice about me being blunt, but that says one of two things. It says that either it is a very orchestrated, a gag, that just BS that he's pulling, and he wants to hear from the other side so he can, make himself sound better, or he really, really believes what he's saying. I'm not sure which it is. I really don't buy any of it. I don't believe Obama was on the moon. I don't think he grew up in some special top secret program with Obama so he could go to Mars and they can fight dinosaurs and all this other stuff that he says. He's an interesting fellow, that's for sure.
Yeah, Bisaggio, I think is how he pronounces his name.
Why give him the courtesy?
What's that?
I was corrected by him how he pronounces his name, so I figured I'd throw that out there.
Bisaggio.
It rhymes with Chicago. It's Bisaggio. We're right in the midst of working on an article that's a critical examination of the so-called secret space program, what evidence we have to support that contention, and how all the people that have come out over the years, and there have been quite a number of them, not just recent folks like William Tompkins and Corey Goode and these others, but you go back into the 70s and 80s, and there's a history of talk about this particular subject, and so I'm doing a fairly it's going to be a short article. It's not going to go too in depth because, quite frankly, I'm not that interested in the subject. I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, but it's interesting to see how this whole subject has evolved and how each new player that comes along piggybacks their information and fills in more and more gaps in the narrative that's been established, and that to me smacks of grandstanding. And
well, here's the other problem with that whole end of things also, and it leads me to believe, and I'm really into this Richard Doty, this story, this whole, I've done a lot of work on that, and I still work on it. In fact, if we have time, we might. I got to talk to Harrison Schmidt a bit about this, so we should talk about that. I think you guys will find it interesting. But the whole point is that it serves for people not to look into the real secret space programs, because we do know that they've got this little shuttle, this unmanned vehicle that the Air Force has been flying around. It's been up for like a year doing stuff, but we don't know what's in the payload. That is interesting. We do have a secret space program, but it doesn't have fleets of huge motherships, and we don't have bases on the moon and Mars that I can so the extent of the real secret space program, like, this projects from the Air Force and what they're up to, I think that's fascinating.
So let's look at the real secret space program instead of the one that's in Fantasyland. With Alejandro, Gene, and Chris, you're in
the Paracast.
The Paracast.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
Attack of the Rockoids has been well received by critics and readers alike. It's a thrill-a-minute story you'll never forget. A former U.S. military intelligence officer is haunted by intense dreams about a beautiful woman pleading for his help after a terrible battle in outer space. But the dreams turn out to be true and thrust him into a telepathic love affair with a woman whose faraway planet is intent on destroying the Earth. And now the gripping tale continues in The Coming of the Protectors. It's the second book of the Rockoids trilogy, a galaxy-spanning adventure that pits our hapless heroes against powerful, fanatical enemies that threaten the lives of freedom-loving beings everywhere. Attack of the Rockoids and The Coming of the Protectors. Classic science fiction at its best. Available now. For more details, visit rockoids.com. That's ROCKOIDS.com.
Are you living your passion? Are you pumped to go to work because you get to talk about or work with or do the things that interest you the most? Is working, playing, and relaxing one and the same? As long as you're working for someone else, you'll never be living entirely true to yourself and your passion. I'm Pharmacist Keith. Let me show you how you can work around your current schedule, create the extra income so you can live your passion. Visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com. radio.recordedvideo.com.
A commemorative President Trump dollar for only $5? Yes, the historic Trump dollar starts at only $5 at TrumpDollar.us. Choose from our unique 3-coin collection in gold, silver, and copper. The Vote Trump dollar, inaugural Trump dollar, and Make America Great Again Trump dollar. Available only at TrumpDollar.us. Minted in the USA, our Trump dollars commemorate President Trump's patriotic stand. Order your Trump dollar collection today in time for Christmas delivery at TrumpDollar.us. That's TrumpDollar.us.
Welcome back to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
Okay, well, let's not jump the gun, folks. We have Alejandro Rojas. We have Gene Steinberg and Chris O'Brien. We're doing, I guess it's partly a recap of 2017, the issues, but we have the Fantasyland secret space program where we're working with ET and we're using time machines and all this other stuff and remote viewing and all that. And we have the real one that we should really talk about, Alejandro.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we don't have a lot of insight into. Like we talked about that Air Force shuttle that we've got pictures of. You can go look at it, Air Force Space Command shuttle. But we don't know what that thing is up to. I think that would be really interesting. And also the real projects behind what's going on with the space program. For instance, here's a story. I'm going to give you guys what I think is a scoop, and I'm going to write a Huffington Post article on this. We were discussing this at Space Camp. I was at Space Camp last week in Alabama. I was invited by National Geographic Channel. It was helped to give us some information about these two programs, Season 2 of Mars, and then a new program called One Strange Rock that's coming out. Why did the president sign something that said we're going to go back to the moon yesterday? A lot of people have been speculating, but here's what it is. It's because China and Russia have said they're going to create these programs to go to the moon, and that's their focus. The issue with that is think of our position then. Can we allow China and Russia to get there first? Right now, the laws around governing that property, who owns that property, the moon, are very lax. Who's going to have the most influence on who owns that property? The first people there. We cannot allow China and Russia to get there before us. We've got to be in that game, and that's what that was about yesterday. So when we were in Alabama at Space Camp, it just so happened that they had a special event at Marshall Space Center that we were able to be a part of, and a press conference with Harrison Schmitt. The special event was for the 45th anniversary of Apollo 17. Harrison Schmitt was one of the astronauts on that ship. But during the press conference, I asked him, do you think that, China and Russia going to space is going to reignite a new space race to get to the moon? He said it already has. That press conference was just a couple days before Trump signed this thing yesterday, and Harrison Schmitt was right there with him. You can see him right in the front on the picture. He was closest right there on the desk.
But wait a minute. Who's going to pay for it? Gates, Bezos, Musk, and the Google guys, and these 8 people that have as much money as half the world. I mean, who's going to pay for it?
Well, that's another great question. But when it comes to NASA, it's governed by politics, and politics, is governed by whatever's going on at the time. As far as, for instance,
we don't even have a NASA director.
But when it comes to the space program, it began with that space race against Russia. It was a Cold War thing. Once that was over, then we moved to the space shuttle. But the space shuttle was all largely funded by taking payloads, defense payloads into space. Who's going to fund it? Defense. And that's where it comes back to the whole space program. And there has been talk with Space Command and Air Force and Navy about this whole moving the campaign into the next frontier. Space wars. We need to weaponize space. We have to figure out how to do that first. And that's where that funding is going to come from. If there's a political will and there is motivation for these purposes, then it'll happen. And the political will is going to come when we've got to beat Russia and China so they can't own the moon, especially when defense is talking about the moon is a good platform for weaponizing space. That's where the funding is going to come from. That's where the whole push is coming from to Mars. And you know who's going to be in the middle of it? There's only one guy that has a habitat that he's working on and has been working on the last few years to put on the moon. And he's
Robert Bigelow.
Exactly. And you know what? He's been getting closer and closer with NASA. He's been very secret about all of this. He wasn't happy when the 60 Minutes program came out a few months ago that had all of him talking about UFOs and stuff, because they had filmed that a year prior. And his whole thing was, now he's even more tight-lipped and careful because he's so tight with NASA on this project right now. At Huntsville, at Space Camp in the museum, the U.S. Space and Rocket Museum there, Bigelow had a very large presence. They had these large examples of his habitats. They had a large example of his moon base. He's the only guy that if they said, we need to go to the moon now, he is the guy ahead of the game. And it's part of the problem with this whole idea of going to Mars. Bezos, Musk, they're going to go to Mars. The NASA plans to go to Mars are not complete. They don't have everything figured out. It's not like, they're running as hard as these other guys are towards it. And what they hope to do in 2035 is to have a person orbit Mars. Elon Musk hopes in the next few years to have people on Mars, even though he hasn't built any habitats. He doesn't have a plan for actually having people stay there, but that's what he says he's going to do. But Bigelow's ahead of the game on this. I think his habitat's going to be a really big deal in this whole moon mission and refocus on the moon that's coming up. And we'll see this be a bigger deal, especially because as China and Russia seem to be more and more serious that they really will be landing on Mars. And why not? It's there for the taking.
It's interesting here. If private industry got involved in the space program before the politics took over and after the moon missions declined, maybe we would have been where 2001: A Space Odyssey showed us being.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the whole point, is the motivations to get us there. We had the technology. Von Braun, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to go to Mars even. He wanted to have habitats on Mars and the moon. They developed the technology to do it many, many years ago. But once we beat the Russians to the moon, you just didn't have that political will. There wasn't that real need beyond exploration, and they couldn't justify even the technologies, of course, that NASA comes up with often do help many different industries, but it just did not justify the expenditures. So you need a major motivator. We have one now, again. Yeah, it ought to be interesting. I think space right now is really interesting. But the point is that defense wants to weaponize space. But what's the secret part of it? How they're going to do that, what they're going to do that with beyond satellites. Is it laser satellites and wars taking out other satellites? Possibly. Maybe that's the secret war that's going on up there. We don't know. And I think that's what's really interesting. But when people are distracted by, Obama on Mars, riding dinosaurs or whatever, then unfortunately all of this effort from people who are interested is deflected and looking elsewhere or just embarrassed by the whole idea.
They're just looking for the Martian Manhunter, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of drill down on this a little bit. If you're saying that, I don't want to go through a whole litany of names, but I will. The Corey Goods, the William Tompkins, the Andrew Bassagios, the Laura Eisenhowers, blah, 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 going down the list. Basically, what I'm hearing from you, Alejandro, is that they're a distraction. Now, well, or they're sort of running interference maybe, or they're subterfuge, or they're disinformation, sleight of hand. Let's keep people looking this direction while the real thing's really happening, that sort of thing. If that's the case, now, how do we drill down on who has been tasked with doing this? And then how do we differentiate between the agenda, which could be for very specific counterintelligence purposes, and the people that are just glomming onto it and trying to make a buck? I have my own opinions on that. What are yours?
I think that's a great question. Richard Doty started it. That's what he said he did it for, was to distract people from real projects. He said he was told to release these stories about, aliens and the Air Force knowing everything and having all of this technology.
We'll have more about Richard Doty. With Gene and Chris and Alejandro, you're in
the Paracast.
Neighbors, we've made such a deal with HelloFresh, and it means that everyone listening to this show can receive $30 off your first week of deliveries when you go to HelloFresh.com and use the offer code Paracast30 You know, with HelloFresh, you can choose the delivery day that works best for you. They've got a wide variety of chef-curated recipes that change weekly. And can you imagine me cooking Japanese panko chicken? It makes me feel like I'm a chef. It means also that you could actually get your meal cooked in 30 minutes. For busy people, this is perfect. The simple recipes include step-by-step instructions so even I can figure it out. Go to HelloFresh.com, use the offer code Paracast30 to get $30 off your first week of deliveries. HelloFresh.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But did you know you can have tax-free access to your life insurance while you're still alive? You can use the life benefits of your life insurance to grow your money with certainty and guarantees. No stock market risk, no tax risk, and no penalties. Call Life Benefits if you'd like a free book about how this can be done. Call 702-660-7000. That's 702-660-7000.
We'd like to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And don't forget to visit our famous Paracast community forums at forum.theparacast.com.
Now, before we go on here, guys, I want to mention here that I have had some correspondence lately with Richard Doty in connection with possibly getting him to come on the Paracast in the very near future. Of course, he's kind of, I don't know, gun-shy about that. You figure here's a former officer, guy who was involved in disinformation. He'd sure have the courage to answer questions, hard questions, don't you think, Alejandro?
No. I'm not completely convinced he did this at the behest of the government. I don't know that for sure. I think there's
he was an individual whack job.
Or if he wasn't, then he is now. And so now a lot of these ideas or stories he's come up with are all his own. And he's never been good at sticking to his own story. And
well, that's an understatement, but we I think we all three can agree that he was instrumental and was one of the primary people behind the establishment of the Dulce base myth.
Exactly.
In the Paul Benowitz case, which there's no question, at least in my mind, and in the mind of people like Ron Regehr, who knew Benowitz before all this stuff went down, I should add, and also Greg
Harrison Schmidt.
Harrison Schmidt. There's a litany of individuals who watched, the decline and fall of a very, very brilliant man, a scientist. And Doty was, right there with the Office of Air Force Intelligence, AFOSI, if you will. And he was right there, and he was involved in creating and promoting the myth of an alien base underneath Archuleta Mesa up,
exactly,
lowering over the Hickory Apache town of Dulce.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what you're talking about? What other myths? Of course, Linda Howe. Serpo. Well, he always has said that. I'm not involved with Serpo. Both him and Bob Collins have been saying that.
a lot of things.
Yeah, well.
But I think that, I think there's been sufficient evidence to show that he was behind Serpo. They tracked his IP, and I think that, Robert Hastings has done a great job outlining the evidence that shows Doty was behind Serpo.
Well, we can throw out some other names out there. Len Casson, of course, who wrote the book. Robert Collins and Victor Martinez, a name that not many people know, but any inside baseball type folks know Victor very well. If you've ever been on his email list,
None of whom are the strongest researchers.
Huh?
None of whom are the strongest at researchers. And that's the problem why Doty's not coming on your show. You're not believers. The other people are believers, and they're not going to challenge him, and they're not as capable at challenging him as you two would
I believe, Alejandro, that I would carve that man a new one, or at least attempt to, if he ever came on the show.
Exactly, and he knows that. I think he is very well aware of that. So I don't think he wants to.
I've got quite a dossier on that guy.
Yeah,
man, I got a list of questions for him.
Well, yeah, maybe we could challenge him.
That'll make him even more gun shy, Gene. That's why I had you contact him and not mention my name, because he knows about me.
I haven't even attempted anyway, because he's lied. I mean, he just lies. That's his method of doing things, and it's well documented. His story's changing constantly over the years. So I've always felt, why talk to someone who just lies?
Yeah. What's the point?
He's just going to feed me a bunch of BS anyway. So
it's like believing the U.S. government when they disclose what they know about aliens and ETs and UFOs and all the other flotsam and jetsam that goes with those subjects. Flotsams, jetsams, and
and words we can't say on commercial radio.
Right. Well, anyway, how can you believe somebody who's been lying? In the case of Doty, at least 40 years.
Exactly.
In the case of the U.S. government, double that. So there you go, folks. There you have it.
Well, I'll still try.
Yep.
No,
so is this a segment right now?
Yeah. Of course we're on the air. Oh,
okay. I thought we ended the other one and didn't come back.
No. This is all part of the show.
Harrison Schmidt thing. So here's what I did, because Harrison Schmidt, who's the astronaut I referred to earlier, became somewhat friendly with Paul Benowitz, who Doty admits he drove him crazy with all of his efforts to give him all of this hoaxed information.
Well, and to go into his house and move around his furniture.
Exactly.
Man, switch cutlery and plates and stuff in the cabinets. That's cruel.
Drove the guy crazy, very cruel, for which Doty has never, to me, seemed to have a hint of remorse for. He's kind of like, well, sorry, that was my job.
My job.
And so Harrison Schmidt, on the behest of Paul Benowitz, had gone to the Air Force. And I've got this documented. I did a FOIA, and you can go to Open Minds so you could see this. I've got a video out there on Doty on all of this. And Harrison Schmidt said, hey, what's going on here? Why are you telling Benowitz that there's aliens and all this crazy stuff? Well, who did they have answer Harrison Schmidt's questions? Richard Doty. What did Richard Doty say? Richard Doty said, no, we went to his house. We saw his material. He thought he saw UFOs over Kirtland and got these signals. We didn't see it as being anything that we felt was significant. So that was it. We told him that, sorry, we can't do anything with this. And that was the end of the story.
Yeah, what a bald-faced lie.
Exactly. He lied to Harrison Schmidt. Harrison Schmidt at the time was House of Reps. So he's a congressman for New Mexico. Another congressman did the same thing that Benowitz had gotten a hold of, and that was Peter Domenici. Peter Domenici was a senator. Right. Doty was then tasked to tell him, give him an answer. Doty told him the same thing, lied to both of them. Right. So luckily the PR person at the museum was able, she gave me a minute and she printed up this open letter I have to the Air Force regarding all of this. So I told him, hey, this was really cool. You guys will like this. So I said, do you happen to remember Paul Benowitz? You had spoken to Kirtland Air Force Base at his behest over something. And he paused for a second and he said, yeah, I remember, which is cool that he remembers. But the pause wasn't, I didn't feel so much, Paul Benowitz, who is that? The pause was more like, should I admit that I know this guy or not?
You know what else you should have asked him about? Creating the only conference ever in history on the cattle mutilation phenomenon.
Exactly. And that's where Harrison Schmidt met Benowitz. Was Harrison Schmidt, created a conference to investigate cattle mutilations. FBI was involved. State police. All of these people were involved. Gabe Valdez, the state police guy.
Yep. David Perkins started out the proceedings. He was the first presenter, then Tom Adams, and I could go down the list. As a result of that, when he came up for a re-election, that was one of the things that his opponent used against him and won.
Let's prepare to break here, guys, and then we've got more to cover as we try to figure out what's going on. I also want to ask Alejandro in a few minutes about what happened or what is happening with Tom DeLonge and what he's involved with.
I don't have a lot of time left, but
let's take as much as we can. More to come with Alejandro, Gene, and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-packed technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Well, you can, and you don't even have to go out of your way. We're talking about the world's softest pajamas, available exclusively at pajamagram.com. That's pajamagram.com. Created by a team of dedicated pajama experts, the world's softest pajamas are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love the way the world's softest pajamas feel, and you'll love the way they look. More than a gift, they're a feeling, an invitation to relax a little longer. The world's softest pajamas are available only at pajamagram.com. Visit today and give her a gift that keeps on giving to both of you. Plus, you don't even have to wrap because every Pajamagram includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Message and data rates may apply.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real hair back permanently. Check them out today because they're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts EASY66 to 85850. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're ahead of the curve. They use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text EASY66 to 85850. Ask about the Bosley Guarantee. EASY66 to 85850.
Hey, this is Marie D. Jones, the author of This Book is from the Future, and you are listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
As I said earlier in the episode, we are in the process of upgrading the forum software for the Paracast forums. And what this means for Paracast Plus subscribers, or those of you who haven't decided whether to subscribe yet, is the possibility of other payment options, such as wire transfers from your checking account, possibly to checkout and some other payment services, maybe even Bitcoin. We're looking into that option. Right now it's PayPal or a credit card through PayPal. We offer the ad-free version of this show, free of the network ads. We offer the After the Paracast podcast, where you never know what's going to happen. And to learn more, just go to plus.theparacast.com, plus.theparacast.com. With Gene, Chris, and Alejandro. And Alejandro is probably going to leave a little bit early on the episode, but we're going to tie him down for as long as we can. He didn't know that when he committed to this.
No, I knew you'd try and we're gonna succeed a bit.
We will succeed.
No, Gene and I have not sat down and said, hey, what's a short list to ambush Alejandro? I didn't even know you're going to be on the show till an hour before the show, so...
I always love talking with you guys. And, you mentioned something earlier, too, that, Chris, you were like, yeah, I'll take on any hard question. And that's, I think, the attitude. That's the attitude I love. When you do this for a while, you want the tough questions.
Well, at least. Everything else is boring.
Exactly. So the hard questions are fun. And you asked me a hard question just a second ago, Gene.
Gene, hello, Gene, wake up.
I got a phone call from somebody. The phone number is correct, but they think I was looking for a brand new luxury car yesterday in Scottsdale, Arizona. I said, well, if you're paying for it.
Yeah. I'm looking for one for $10, $15.
Well, they got this new iMac Pro from Apple out. And consider what the cheapest car costs right now. It starts at $5,000. And if you get fully equipped with an 18-core processor, it's north of $13,000.
Holy moly.
Whoa. 50 years ago, you could have bought a house.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you asked me a tough question, and that was about Tom DeLonge.
Yeah. Researcher of the year. at Open Minds last year. And
that's true.
I remember hearing the quote, "I've read all the books, ... So I know everything." And I remember I was just beside myself with annoyance. So I'm trying to be kind.
He's the only one who read all the books. That's why he got that award. No, I'm kidding. I stand by it personally, and it's the tough question, and I've taken it on, and I'll take it on over and over again. And the reason he wouldn't have gotten that award if it wasn't for WikiLeaks, if we wouldn't have known that he brought together this great bunch of people to discuss the topic, and that somewhat has come to fruition with the group that he put together, To the Stars Academy. Now, I know you're, but I think here's the thing that you have to do, and I don't do this to
give him the benefit of the doubt, give him time.
It's not so much to give him the benefit of the doubt. What I like to say is what I think it's on the merits of what has already been done. I don't know that he really has all the answers like he feels he has. And what he believes is very, very different from what the beliefs are of the people he put together. Jim Semivan, who worked for the CIA, Chris, I can't remember his last name, who worked for the CIA, and some of these other guys who we've talked to, Gary Nolan, who worked for Stanford. These guys are much, much more conservative. I've talked to them, and they've said, even Jim, these CIA guys, they've said, I didn't get any indication of any of these things that he's talking about when I was there. I'm not so sure about some of those things like the major battle and the Air Force fighting aliens and protecting Americans.
The evil aliens.
They're like, I don't know where he got that, but they're like, this is a real mystery, and we believe in this mystery, and we want to discover more about this mystery. And along the lines of like Steve Justice, who worked for Lockheed, along the lines of Bigelow and MUFON and some other organizations, they want to see what technologies they can glean from the phenomena to actually build working devices to, apply them.
Hal should go back and revisit Ray Stanford. I mean, Ray blew him away when he was there at the house, and these people are they're barking up the wrong trees. They're not. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously
as part of the group. I disagree. I don't think they're barking up the wrong tree whatsoever.
Well, they have an insider track. They have an insider track, but there is a public side of analysis that's going on, and you have to drag people kicking and screaming to somebody that is the most important person in the entire field, as far as I'm concerned, at least the public aspect of the field. And so, I kind of question anything that has too many ex-intelligence or recently retired intelligence agents and, super high classified, aerospace connections. I mean, come on! It's these people would not be going out front unless there was a rationale. They were being tasked. They were given tacit approval and permission to go ahead and get involved in this stuff.
Here's the perspective. Now, you're right about that, the permission aspect to it, because they've admitted, at least a couple of these guys have admitted that they do float some of this by their guys because they come from a career. Of working for these agencies. And it's not so much also fearing pensions, it's fearing discrediting or making their own the people look bad. They're still loyal, they're still friends with those people who are still inside.
Right,
and
of course.
They don't want to embarrass them. But this is an interesting perspective.
So the whole thing is compromised from the get-go. So, anybody who's hoping for some great miracle of disclosure is deluding themselves. It's never going to happen.
And here's the thing: is that the To the Stars Academy guys, these ex-CIA and Lockheed and such, they're not promising disclosure. Tom is, but they're not. And that's my point, is what Tom is doing. I agree with you 100%. I would be completely suspect of all of that information that would come out.
I want to know my opinion. My opinion is that he's mentioning all this buzzword stuff so that he can generate almost $3 million for his freaking public startup money. I mean, let's get real. The main focus of this is entertainment.
And that's where I think you're way off. He doesn't need $3 million. That $3 million is not even going to him. It goes to this corporation, this group that's put together. Here's what they're doing, and here's what I'm getting to. And here's the mindset of what they say that they feel. They're doing this in more of the spirit of SpaceX. They see an example that there's kind of taboo technologies out there that nobody's touching, and there's not government funding in it. It seems too good to be true and too wild, but nobody's running for it. For example, the electric cars or the transit system that Musk is, or space like Musk has done. So they see Musk as a model. He tackled these things. He went for it, and he did the impossible. And that's what they feel they can do. They feel that
that's why Hal's there.
Technology's out there. They feel if UFOs can fly around and use anti-gravity, so can we. So we should be the first to develop that technology, and that's what they're doing. That's what they want to do.
Let me just go over a couple of things here, Alejandro, because I was looking at the site where they're raising their money. Now, the amount raised has kind of stalled. It's still a little bit over $2 million, $2,094,053. That's not changed in several weeks. They've had 2,128 investors. You have to invest $200. It's not like you send $5. The minimum is $200, first thing. We'll get into more of this in a moment with Alejandro, Gene, and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Do you need a website? Well, you can get a great deal on hosting services with Namecheap's legendary coupon code. They're offering substantial hosting discounts on shared hosting, business hosting, VPS hosting, reseller hosting, and even dedicated servers. Namecheap is preferred by millions. It's backed by a money-back guarantee. Use the coupon code LEGENDARY to cash in on the special deal at Namecheap.com, Namecheap.com.
First came Attack of the Rockoids, and it was a critically acclaimed success. And now there's The Coming of the Protectors. A former military intelligence man is contacted by a space woman in a dream that turns out to be a nightmare because evil forces on her distant planet are planning to conquer the Earth. This is gripping science fiction of the classic kind. Attack of the Rockoids and The Coming of the Protectors. Find out more at rockoids.com. That's Rockoids, ROCKOIDS.com.
A commemorative President Trump dollar for only $5? Yes, the historic Trump dollar starts at only $5 at TrumpDollar.us. Choose from our unique 3-coin collection in gold, silver, and copper. The Vote Trump dollar, inaugural Trump dollar, and Make America Great Again Trump dollar. Available only at TrumpDollar.us. Minted in the USA, our Trump dollars commemorate President Trump's patriotic stand. Order your Trump dollar collection today in time for Christmas delivery at TrumpDollar.us. That's TrumpDollar.us.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
People search the internet for everything, including you.
With a few clicks, information from your past can be quickly discovered, from business deals gone wrong to misleading reviews, negative articles, and unflattering images. Studies show 78% of people search for someone online before doing business with them. Will they find the real you? With ReputationDefender.com, you can establish a positive internet presence. ReputationDefender.com pioneered the field with over a decade of experience, serving thousands of successful individuals and businesses. We use patented, award-winning systems to boost positive content and suppress negative material. Don't let the internet define you. Take control of your reputation today with ReputationDefender.com. For your quick, free reputation analysis, call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
This is Jacques Vallée. You're listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
Just going through the numbers here for the To the Stars venture. So the investments apparently were fairly good at the beginning, but it stalled at a little over $2 million, which is chump change for the kind of technology they're talking about. Now, the other thing about it is, if you look online as to what someone who was in a successful rock band is worth, well, apparently Tom DeLonge is allegedly worth $60 million, roughly. Of course, it's hard to estimate. You might gauge this on what the band received in terms of possible record royalties, recording royalties, what they might have received in terms of concerts and stuff like that. $60 million, of course, is chump change if you're Paul McCartney, who's worth, several billion now. Or even Ringo Starr is worth several hundred million. Just $1 billion? Oh, poor guy. I mean, I just feel so sorry for Paul. Ringo's only worth a few $100 million, so I really feel sorry for him. If Tom DeLonge is worth $60 million, and he can be reasonably liquid at that, or isn't living a really crazy lifestyle, he possibly could have put more funding into it. I don't know. I just think it had a little bit of publicity, a little round of publicity when it went live. We had the article from Leslie Kane on the Huffington Post. And I've asked her a couple of times to come on the show, and she hasn't had time yet. I'd like to talk to her about it. But as of now, it seems to have stalled out.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I haven't talked to any of the guys in the last few weeks, so I don't know what the status is, where they're at now. However, this is the big takeaway. I feel that the exciting takeaway from this is that these guys that I have talked to who are now out about their UFO interests are not going back into the closet. They intend to stay. They're already interacting with organizations. I work with these guys with the SCU, the Society, or the Coalition for Science and Ufology, and they're working with them. These guys are going to continue to help out this field, and I think their knowledge and their experience is going to be a lot of help. And I'm not sure if they're going to meet their goals. Their goals are very lofty. It's kind of pie in the sky stuff. I'm very skeptical that Tom DeLonge's going to, reveal any major secrets that are going to give us an understanding of what's going on. So, I mean, I'm always skeptical of most things in this field, but that is very cool. That's a very cool takeaway. These guys are great. You're going to have them on your show at some point. Maybe it'll be the next 6 months. Maybe it'll be a year. Maybe it'll be another year after that. But you're going to love these guys, and you're going to be really happy that these guys got into this field. So I think that some of that positive that's going to come from all of this, you all will experience as well. And so that's what I'm excited about. As for whether everything else will work out, I don't know. I hope so, but I hope Tom's scenario of what's going on is not the case, but because it's a pretty dark one. he's not the best representative for the company. He's not really outlining what their goals and missions are well. He's speaking towards what his interests are, and so they've had some issues with all of that, no doubt. Yeah, it's another, I think there's silver lining there that we'll all benefit from. But I do have to run.
You've never thought then, Alejandro, about having Tom DeLonge speak at the International UFO Congress?
Well, of course we have. I would love to have him do that, actually. But he has not committed. The possibility even exists now that he'll be there. He really wants to have some sort of representation and share something, but he has not come up with what that will be. So
we'll extend him an invitation to be on our show.
Have you all done that?
No, I have no way of getting in touch with him.
Oh, you do? I mean, I probably could. I haven't even had him on my show, and here's why it's. And he listens to a lot of these shows, and I know he's even mentioned that he understands why I say this, but I don't want to hear more speculation. We hear wild speculation all the time, you know what? And one other person's wild speculation, even if it is a rock star, is just another person's wild speculation. So I don't feel like, I can even offer, if he came on my show, then more than he gave to Coast or whoever. So that's why I haven't even had him on. I haven't had it on my show. He hasn't said he's disappointed in that, but he has expressed that he thinks he understands why, because I've expressed this before. So, but it would be possible. I think he might be interested in doing that. And he might even want to answer some of the hard questions and be challenged a little bit. He's not afraid of that. It doesn't seem, I don't think.
Well, he's read all the books, so he knows everything.
Well, that was a slight, I think he didn't mean it to sound like the way that it did. I think he meant to say that I've read a lot of the books. I've read, the big books. I think that's what he meant to say. But he is a really cool guy. I think that it would be good for him to do stuff like that because he is just a cool guy. I mean, you guys have met like Danny. He reminds me of Danny at our conference. This guy who's kind of a local Phoenix rock star. People know him here. He's a real character. Funny guy, really. But his thoughts are along the same line as Tom DeLonge's. And so his views are really out there, and he's just an energetic dude. But Tom is a really nice guy. His heart's in the right place. Really cool guy. And I think anybody who's really gotten to know him feels that way. And even though he has all these crazy, wild ideas, it's because he is such a cool guy that, all of these people have decided to work with him. And so I think it could be positive for him to do that. So I definitely, I'll see what I can do.
We promise we'll use lubrication. We won't be too hard on him. I mean, I'd love to give him a chance to, kind of cheerlead the whole project a little bit, and then give us a chance to, ask some probing questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's really, really got to help him. I mean, if he thinks that he's got something on the ball here and isn't just buying a lot of wacky theories, isn't reading the books, I would think he'd be able to appear in a setting like this. I mean, he's a rich man. He's a successful man. What does he have to lose, even if he doesn't come across so well?
And I think he kind of would. I mean, there's a lot of people that believe along the lines he does. So I think in a way, especially when it comes to his personality, he would come across really well. And I think what he's done is pretty cool. I mean, if you guys had his access, and that's what I kind of think. If I had his access, I would do what he did. I would be engaging all of these agencies and these people in the know, Skunk Works. I would be engaging those people to figure out what they know and connecting all of those people. And I think that's what's really cool. He didn't have to do that. He could have just come out and talked all of this crazy stuff or done like other movie stars and celebrities do. And I personally always appreciate when they have an interest in the field, but he did more than that. He actively sought, and it hasn't all been positive for him. I mean, he gets a lot of negative media for leaving Blink 182 for UFOs. And so he has put himself out there, and I personally appreciate that. We're so cruel to other people in this field often. Bigelow had that issue with all the conspiracies and just negativity towards what he was trying to do when he was trying to explore these topics. And so I appreciate his involvement and much of what he's done. And so I am a fan of Tom's in that way. He's a really cool guy.
Well, as I said, we're happy to talk to him if he wants to talk to us. But we're not going to hold back in terms of questions because we've been around the fields for a while.
We're not going to insult the guy or anything, but, at the same time, I've got a lot of questions I'd like to ask.
Yeah, and everyone deserves to be challenged a bit. And also
nice. We can put on our bedside manner, face and
I wasn't aware that you had one, Chris.
Huh?
I wasn't aware you had a bedside manner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do.
Alejandro, unfortunately, you have to leave us. Where can we get in touch with you?
UFOcongress.com and openminds.tv.
Okay, and we will be bugging him over at the Congress to get us the guests that we need for the shows from the people there. And
put out an extended invitation for anybody that's going to be there to, all your speakers that we'd love to give them a chance to give us a little preview of the material that they will be covering.
Great.
And we look forward to it.
Okay, I'll work on that. And thank you guys so much. It's always a huge pleasure. I'm a fan of you guys. Thanks again for having me.
You're in
the Paracast.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
We also have swag. We have all these exclusive Paracast things that you can buy. We've got 60 or so different items, and entails t-shirts, sleeves for notebook computers, iPad cases, mouse pads, the Paracast Jumbo tote bag, all sorts of t-shirts and jackets and stuff like that for men and women. We have a Paracast aluminum water bottle. All this stuff, you go to store.theparacast.com, store.theparacast.com. What makes it special is that the items are the best quality, great t-shirts, fabrics, and they have our official logo on them. That's what makes them special, in multiple sizes and colors. We even have stuff for children, stuff for women, stuff for men. We have all sorts of sizes, like small up to X large. A lot of good stuff. That's the swag from the Paracast. You go to store.theparacast.com, stop by, and take a shopping tour.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
Welcome back to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
So we did not scare Alejandro Rojas out of the room.
No, it's not our job to scare him out of the room. We want to scare him back in the room, if anything.
Yeah, he's also my friend. We've had lunch. He's a really nice guy.
He's my friend too. I really like Alejandro a lot. He's one of those really good guys that's in the field that really, doesn't have, ill will towards anybody. And he's very accepting of everybody's, theories and everybody's subjective sort of biases and all the rest of it. And he thinks that everybody should have an opportunity to voice their particular opinions. And I really like that, and I appreciate that of him. He's one of the genuinely good guys in the field, and he's a sweetheart. So, I mean, what more could you ask for?
And after all, if he wants to look through some of this with rose-colored glasses, which I think he's doing with DeLonge, that's fine.
We've never talked to the man. He has. So, I mean, he does have a bit of a leg up on the situation. If he says he's a really nice guy and he's on the ball and stuff, then, coming from Alejandro, I mean, that's, that to me means a lot, because I respect Alejandro's opinion. He's no dummy. I mean, I remember when Alejandro first really kind of arrived on the scene, he reminded me so much of myself when I was first getting involved in all these things. I was so excited and I was so front loaded with all this, ET aliens are behind everything. And, Alejandro just was a bundle of enthusiasm. And the more he got involved in the field, the more he read the books, the more he became familiar with the researchers and investigators in the history of this field, the more tempered he became, and the more, shall we say, the more circumspect and the more sort of critical, really, I think his thinking has become. And I really admire his process and the development that he's at least shown to me as a person who, had a deep connection to my work, because, his family is from the San Luis Valley. So, I mean, we always had that in common. And so, I've been obviously taking a keen interest in his process over the years. And, he's one of those genuinely nice guys in the field. And what more can I say? I mean, he's like Nick. He's like Richard Doty. There's some genuinely Greg Bishop. There's some genuinely nice people in this field, and that's a real saving grace, I think. Because if everybody was like me, I mean, I could be nice too, but I just don't have the patience to be, the Mr. Super Nice Guy to everybody. I mean, I see Don Schmidt's name on there, and that kind of rubs me the wrong way. I could go with a few other speakers that are on there, not because I'm not on the bill, but my BS meter is just so fine tuned and so sensitive now that I have a hard time just giving people passes after passes after passes. I mean, how many times can you show that you're just in this for the notoriety and the money, and get away with yet again having your integrity legitimately called into question? So Alejandro is still at a place where he's willing to give people a second or third or fourth chance, and that's the sign of a truly nice guy. But maybe there is a little rose-colored glasses thing going on in some areas of his relationships and understanding of the subject matter, and we all have our blind spots. We all have our foibles and idiosyncrasies, and that. That extends across the width and breadth of the field. So what can I say? I mean, I like Alejandro a lot, and I consider him a close associate and friend. So, hey, there you go.
Anyway, as wild and freaky UFO conventions go, this is not a wild and freaky UFO convention. Just has a few people that we might have some qualms about. So there you go about that. In any case, International UFO Congress in mid-February. Good to hear about that, and that it's going to continue. I just wonder what, in terms of events, have you heard anything what the next year's MUFON symposium is going to be about?
Well, what did Jan say?
I recall it being more straight ahead.
Well, I would think that they kind of learned their lesson from the controversy that sprung up from the last one, but let's go ahead and we'll do a quick check here, and we'll see what we're looking at. I think UFOs in the future of humanity, I think, is the big overarching theme. Of course, for the past 3 or 4 years, I've been demanding that Ray Stanford be included in the speakers roster, simply because I think he's really the most important person right now, doing the most important work in terms of, magnetohydrodynamics and propulsion diagnostic work. There is nobody else that's doing the work that Ray is doing, and for that fact alone, I think he deserves to be given a platform to get some of the results of his analytical work out there. But again, people are caught up in their fantasies. They'd much rather talk about space wars and birdmen, blue-colored birdmen, and
only blue-colored. I wonder about blue-colored birdmen. I was thinking here of Avatar. They're more like green, aren't they?
No, they're blue, but they don't have feathers, and they don't do Baphomet signs with their mudras with their fingers.
Yeah, it's kind of a different kind of blue, it is kind of a blue. And they got 4 more of those, by the way. 4 more Avatar movies are coming.
Oh, cool. I like the first one. I mean, it was such a bleeding heart liberal movie with, the planet being inhabited with alien Native American types with a little bit of Africa thrown in there. I thought it was very, very well done. I really, pushed the bar forward in terms of the seamlessness between CGI and real, life, merging the real and the imagined. I think between, the whole Peter Jackson, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, and then they kind of took it to the next level, and then Avatar really pushed it, pushed the bar even more, and it's getting to the point now where it's going to be virtually impossible to, even with a professional eye, to be able to separate fact from CGI soon. The blending of the two is just so seamless now that it's just a brave new world. And, I support that for the sake of fantasy entertainment for a couple hours. But when that sort of technology starts to filter into the internet and it's touted as being real UFO sightings or real paranormal events, wink, 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 with a lot of clickbait mentality and that sort of thing, then I have problems with it. But it's just man. If I knew as an 8, 9, 10-year-old what was going to be in the future in terms of the level of artistic achievement and with merging with technology, it would have blown my mind, and I wouldn't have believed it.
I don't know. If I knew where things would turn out, I might have decided to go to another planet or something. I'm not at all happy with the way things have turned out in terms of space travel, for example. Yeah, I was thinking about all these great things happening when I was in my 20s. And then the space program, at least the public space program, and I don't believe most of the tales of secret space program beyond the intelligence gathering and such. I think all the stuff that's happened since then have been a waste. Not that the space shuttle was bad or the space probes that we're doing are bad, but when you see what's going on, you think you're still in the 1970s. You don't think that you're in 2017 when we should have been on every planet in the solar system and ready to go interstellar. So in that respect, I kind of think things haven't gone the way I had hoped they would go. We hope to have more segments. With Gene and Chris, you're in
the Paracast.
Attack of the Rockoids has been well received by critics and readers alike. It's a thrill-a-minute story you'll never forget. A former U.S. military intelligence officer is haunted by intense dreams about a beautiful woman pleading for his help after a terrible battle in outer space. But the dreams turn out to be true and thrust him into a telepathic love affair with a woman whose faraway planet is intent on destroying the Earth. And now the gripping tale continues in The Coming of the Protectors. It's the second book of the Rockoids trilogy, a galaxy-spanning adventure that pits our hapless heroes against powerful, fanatical enemies that threaten the lives of freedom-loving beings everywhere. Attack of the Rockoids and The Coming of the Protectors. Classic science fiction at its best, available now. For more details, visit rockoids.com. That's ROCKOIDS.com.
People search the internet for everything, including you. With a few clicks, information from your past can be quickly discovered, from business deals gone wrong to misleading reviews, negative articles, and unflattering images. Studies show 78% of people search for someone online before doing business with them. Will they find the real you? With ReputationDefender.com, you can establish a positive internet presence. ReputationDefender.com pioneered the field with over a decade of experience, serving thousands of successful individuals and businesses. We use patented, award-winning systems to boost positive content and suppress negative material. Don't let the internet define you. Take control of your reputation today with ReputationDefender.com. For your quick, free reputation analysis, call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-packed technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
Have you checked your ECS lately? We have. We are New Pharma, scientists who specialize in human functions controlled by the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. Let me simplify. Your ECS is involved in physiological processes like appetite, pain sensation, mood, memory, and immune systems. New Pharma's patent-pending science is the big difference in our natural solutions, formulated for your well-being. For example, our foundation product provides targeted nutrition to support a healthy endocannabinoid system, which is directly responsible for managing and controlling inflammation. This product contains turmeric, which is known as one of the best anti-inflammatories on the planet. Our allergies product contains sage, which is a very effective decongestant. See all of our amazing capsules, essential oils, and ECS herbal teas at GNUPHARMA.com. New Pharma. Your path to wellness begins here.
Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But did you know you can have tax-free access to your life insurance while you're still alive? You can use the life benefits of your life insurance to grow your money with certainty and guarantees. No stock market risk, no tax risk, and no penalties. Call Life Benefits if you'd like a free book about how this can be done. Call 702-660-7000. That's 702-660-7000.
We'd like to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And don't forget to visit our famous Paracast community forums at forum.theparacast.com.
So Alejandro Rojas had to leave earlier. He's occupied doing 12 jobs, and we asked him to do 13, but he'll be back in the near future for a final rundown on what happened in the International UFO Congress. I know there are several questions from listeners that we will hold in abeyance until then so we can continue. Just a reminder, we have After the Paracast Plus. We offer the ad-free version of this show all in a single package, a single subscription. Go to plus.theparacast.com to get it. After the Paracast is an unlikely combination of, shall we say, Monday morning quarterbacking, different kinds of discussions, special guests, surprise things. We never know what's going to happen next. We give you the ad-free version of this show and more at plus.theparacast.com. And once again, I'll remind you that we are going to be upgrading our forum again soon with, shall we say, better responsive look on your iPhone, iPad, or Android product. And also, we're looking at alternate ways for you to pay for Paracast Plus. So if you don't like PayPal or using your credit card with PayPal, we're working on doing it with wire transfers through the bank, and also possibly Bitcoin and a few of the other services like 2Checkout. Some of these other services they use for buying software and such. So we'll see what happens. In any case, let's continue here. In 2017, Chris O'Brien, do you think we learned anything new about UFOs?
No.
I was thinking here, if I added any year, if I said 2010, if I said 1985, if I said 2050, would your answer be different?
No. We continually spin our wheels. We learn more about the ingenuity of people's imaginations and attempts to monetize their fantasies. We learn a lot about that every year in terms of actual public available knowledge about the subject. No. In terms of what's going on privately with people like Ray Stanford, yes, I learned a lot more. I'm not at liberty to discuss it. I would much rather Ray do that. He does a much better job at it anyway. But there's certain things I think we're 3 steps forward, 2 and 5, 6 steps back. We are very, very slightly moving forward with our limited knowledge, but I think the steps forward really are just subterfuge, and like I said, people's creative fantasies, and I think the whole emerging millennial interest in these subjects are going to be more and more of a focus for, shall we say, very elaborate and very well thought out hoaxed information to try to create cults of personality, to attempt to, I guess, capitalize and monetize and make money off particular subjects. There's an incredible emerging, and it's always been there, but I really feel a groundswell of kind of earnest, very innocent yearning for some sort of answers relating to the UFO question. And again, I sound like a broken record. I've said this so many times, but it's really verging on becoming almost religious in its, the ability of people to suspend their disbelief and to just fervently, almost willfully wanting something to be true so that it will conform to their spiritual, which I think is subconscious really, but a subconscious desire for some sort of spiritual redemption or something to replace outmoded spiritual and religious structures that are slowly dying on the vine, so to speak. So many people are just so, they're so over this whole thing with, jihad Islam or, just out of touch pedophilia, Catholicism, or, money hungry evangelical conservative Christians. The Israelis are just running Zionism and Judaism into the ground with the way that they're dealing with the Palestinian issue and manipulating events in the Middle East. So I think the big 3 Western religions are leaving people cold in this country and in Europe, I think, and less so maybe in South America. But it's I think it's a growing trend of dissatisfaction with the few things we have in our reality to grasp a hold of spiritually. And so I think the whole UFO, this whole paranormal upsurge in interest, we saw it in '92 with the advent of the X-Files. There was a big resurgence of interest in these subjects, and then 9/11 sort of dashed it for a while, and it seemed to die out, and then boom, slowly it's coming back with all the secret space program and whistleblowers and, re-sparking interest. If they have anything positive, it's that they've actually sparked interest in these subjects and got people more and more active and involved. But unfortunately, it's quality of involvement and it's quality of information that I'm sure you are, Gene, really concerned about. And people have been dogging me for being curmudgeonly and being down on this and down on that, and not afraid to name names, not afraid to point, fingers of culpability and that sort of thing. It's a tough damn job, but somebody's got to do it. And I'm at a point now where I don't care what anybody thinks. My work speaks for itself. I have integrity. I've done the best possible job I've been able to do. I stand behind my work proudly. I only venture, where the evidence, supports and suggests. I'm trying to be a beacon of example out there. And it's, people that are up and coming, like Colin Schneider. I've been in contact with him, this 16-year-old wonder kid who's got his own radio show. He's already got a book deal. He's speaking at conferences. John Greenwald was very similar back in the 90s. He started when he was 14. But Colin, I would not be surprised if that kid within a year has his own television show. Wink, wink. There is hope, I think, from the younger generation. I think there are some smart kids out there that can see through all the BS. They can see through all the wishful thinking. And I think that bodes well. I think we have some really smart kids that are biding their time, but taking notes, and they're doing due diligence in their research. And I'm really, I just hope before I pass on to the next software iteration game that I've at least inspired a few people to take the mantle and do it properly and have integrity and really work their butts off to try to come up with some real good data and possibly some, suggestions of an answer. Who knows?
I like what you said. Next software iteration. Maybe that's all we are, is some kind of advanced computer software. More to come with Gene and Chris. You're in the Paracast.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder. Long-distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body. Why take another pill? Treat your aches and pains with Sunshine Pillows. Microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra-large body heating wraps. Sunshine Pillows and wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it, even while driving. Sunshine Pillows are designed with your comfort in mind, will not burn you, and will stay balanced on your body to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part, Sunshine Pillows start at just $20. Join hundreds of our happy customers and see why Sunshine Pillows has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Click sunshine-pillows.com and take the Sunshine Pillow Challenge. That's sunshine-pillows.com.
Hi, Peter Vaccaro for ParanormalDate.com. Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? Now you have a chance to change that by signing up for free at ParanormalDate.com. This incredible dating site puts people of like minds together. People who are interested in the strange, the unusual, mysteries, ghosts, UFOs, and the afterlife, and so much more. ParanormalDate.com was developed for you, people seeking a viable alternative to the other dating services. You can join for free by going to ParanormalDate.com, and if you decide you like it and want to connect with people, use the code GEORGE for a substantial discount. Mark Rawlings, president of ParanormalDate.com, says so many people hunger to share their experiences about the paranormal, the unexplainable, or the afterlife, and so much more, and this is the source for them to meet and share that common interest. So sign up for free at ParanormalDate.com, ParanormalDate.com, and use the code GEORGE if you decide to connect with someone you like.
Message and data rates may apply.
Warning, texting while driving is illegal just about everywhere. So if you want to take advantage of a life-changing LASIK offer, pull over when you can, because a special opportunity is just one text away. The LASIK Vision Institute is offering absolutely free evaluations and dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK. Text the keyword CLEAR55 to 350350 to get the benefit of FDA-approved LASIK technology that gives the majority of patients 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Text to schedule your free appointment to see if LASIK is right for you. When you text CLEAR55 to 350350, you'll also get an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Today, it's your turn. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you've always wanted for a fraction of what others charge. This great offer is just a text away. Text CLEAR55 to 350350. That's CLEAR55 to 350350.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor-endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
Gene and Chris in the Paracast with a stable version of Skype. At least it works well from my end. Chris is staying away from the new version. And he was mentioning, of course, departing this mortal coil or whatever. But what if what happens here is that we are just software? That's it. We're all advanced creations from some advanced beings out there. It's like having a whole galaxy that you wear on your necklace. That was with Men in Black. Well, the galaxy in your necklace.
It's like the whole reframing the debate thread that's going on the forums. I think that we do have a spark that is unique to each and every one of us that's ties into the whole concept of a soul or a connection to the divine. Everything else is Maya, as the Hindis view of it. It's illusion. It's a lot of details that we sort of, whether for karmic reasons or whether for some sort of morality progress in our soul's journey, we've created a lot of the details in our lives that it's almost self-create. It's a self-creative process. So at least that's kind of the way that I've always viewed my existence. I'm much more of a Gnostic, someone that has a direct connection with my sense of my connection to the divine, and I work that connection with my true divine will. I think is very important. I don't allow myself, my spirit, to be colonized into some religious dogma, and I think more and more people are feeling that compulsion to do that. And getting back to what I was saying before, I think kids coming along these days are really bright and up to speed. They realize, some of them, obviously the vast majority don't, but there's a small percentage of them that realize that their culture is not their friend, that they are being programmed to obey and to consume and to keep quiet and die. And, unfortunately, it's our generation, Gene, that brought pretty much, has really brought this whole scenario to a head. I can't apologize for my generation, but I can say if I've ever been involved in that part of the process, man, somebody take me to task. And I welcome anybody to go ahead and come up with the evidence to support me being part of the problem. But I think these kids we're not giving them enough credit. I think there's a lot of really bright kids out there that have instant access to as much information as they possibly could ever want to consume. And I think some of them are smart enough to consume the right type of information and stay away from the information that continues to bedazzle them and to make them be, totally subservient to their thumbs and their iPhones and stuff. And I think there's some kids out there that are the hope for this feeble mess that we're stirring up here on this little backwater planet.
Well, again, it may all be an illusion. We created this backwater planet out of our imaginations, but certainly not the kind of imagination I want. It's more like a nightmare.
Well, that's, whenever I get into it with a contemporary, conversation with a conservative Christian, not so much, in the past, but definitely the last 10 or so years. And they say, well, if you don't, follow Jesus or do this or do that, you're going to go to hell. And I say, wait a minute, this is hell. You got it all wrong. This is hell. Okay. And, I think, of course, I'm being facetious. I'm buying into a structure and a religious dogma that I absolutely have no time for and don't believe for a second. But because they do, I just try to, hit them with that. Just like when people say, "Oh, you're the guy that believes in aliens," I say, "Well, wait a minute. How do you know we're not the aliens? And the things that are aliens have been here longer than we have." I try to get people, shock them into thinking the exact opposite of the way that they've been conditioned to believe. Believe. It's the word that I just am so allergic to. Believe. Oh, I believe this. Well, if you believe this and you don't believe everything else, and you're totally cutting yourself off from possibility of an answer.
Well, maybe that's Tom DeLonge's problem. He seems to have some pretty strange beliefs and gloms on to them. I am of the opinion, watching this fundraising measure stall out like it has, that this is all going to disappear. And that a year from now, we'll say, Tom, who?
He has too many, impressive names that have decided to sit on the podium for that to happen. But, looking into some of the financials and stuff, I think a lot of this money is earmarked to pay off money that's already been spent.
Right, but the fundraising is kind of stalled. I would have thought they could have kept it going longer.
Well, he hasn't been on the Paracast.
Well, that's something that's going to be a lesson to him. Tom DeLonge.
Well, keep bugging Alejandro to get a message to him. If not, give us his contact information, and we'll start dogging him. Because boy, if I get a direct connection to him or to his handlers, I will get them to book him just to shut me up and get rid of me. I can be like a pit bull when I set my mind to something.
Okay, he's got his mind set on this. To quote an old song, I will be bugging Alejandro to get us that information ASAP, okay. And then you can take over.
I would happily like to do that. I'll talk Blink 182 and progressive pop, alternative rock. I never really cared for Blink 182. I always thought that they were Uba Stank and them, and I could just go through the whole litany of bands that all sound the same. You have to double check to make sure that you're listening to the band you think you are, because they're also homogenized and they all sound the same.
That's one of the things I have about music these days. I will go to somewhere like a restaurant and they're playing current music, and I guess through their 2017 version of Muzak or something like that. And I listen, and I can't tell who they are. I have no idea who they are because they all sound the same. I don't want to sound like an old person, because it was true even in the early days of rock and roll. You'd have the basic acts that were really so good and recognizable. And then you'd have these mainstream acts that the record companies put in there. And they decided to distill what they thought made a hit record that teenagers would buy. And so they created a Fabian, who was somebody, I think he was sitting on a stoop in Philadelphia, and a record producer hired him because he looked like a singer. I mean, he wasn't that great or anything. And I guess he tried. But people like that, where this was generic, white rock singer.
Yeah.
And that's what they created.
Well, it's different now. At least back then they played real instruments and had real songs. Now it's all programmed, just homogenized, crap as far as I'm concerned. It all sounds the same. It's super compressed. You have no dynamic range. Everything is all digitized, and it's an approximation of real sound, analog sound waves, and with vocal pitch correction and quantization, to make sure all the instruments are right on the 16th note or the 8th note or the quarter note, whatever it is. Everything's got to be perfect, and they've totally sucked the human element out of music.
There's no spontaneity.
Yeah.
I kind of think you can take a computer and you plug in all the songs written by the Beatles and the various solo songs, plus their influences, and would that computer be able to create a credible Beatles song sounding, using sampling, like the Beatles? That's the question. I don't think they could. We've got more to come. Close. We've got more to come with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
As you know, neighbors, web hosting can be pretty cheap, but not all hosting is the same. DreamHost wins Best of Awards year after year. You get unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, and even the low-cost plans put your sites on high-performance SSDs. Want to know more about what DreamHost has to offer? Go to technightowl.com/host. Once again, that's technightowl.com/host.
First came Attack of the Rockoids, and it was a critically acclaimed success. And now there's The Coming of the Protectors. A former military intelligence man is contacted by a space woman in a dream that turns out to be a nightmare because evil forces on our distant planet are planning to conquer the Earth. This is gripping science fiction of the classic kind. Attack of the Rockoids and The Coming of the Protectors. Find out more at rockoids.com. That's Rockoids, ROCKOIDS.com.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder. Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body. Why take another pill? Treat your aches and pains with Sunshine Pillows. Microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body heating wraps. Sunshine Pillows and wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it, even while driving. Sunshine Pillows are designed with your comfort in mind, will not burn you, and will stay balanced on your body to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part, Sunshine Pillows start at just $20. Join hundreds of our happy customers and see why Sunshine Pillows has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Click sunshine-pillows.com and take the Sunshine Pillow Challenge. That's sunshine-pillows.com.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNloans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNloans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNloans.com. That's GCNloans.com.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
What? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Hi, this is Bryce Abel. I'm the producer of Dark Skies, the co-author of AD After Disclosure, and you are listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
As Chris says, no, because I think the kind of talent they have is amazing.
No, you're talking world-class songwriting.
I said there's a story that somebody told where Picasso dies, and Paul McCartney's visiting Dustin Hoffman, who told the story. And he grabs his guitar and comes out with that song that a lot of you have heard. And it just comes out of his mind like that. That's not something that a computer creates.
Did at the poolside?
I'm not sure it was at the poolside, but, he was just playing with his guitar.
What song?
I'm looking at the lyrics. It was about Picasso. And I'm trying to look at the lyrics of it right now. Yeah, Picasso, Drink to Me. And he was challenged by Dustin Hoffman to write a song based on Picasso. And it's a song that, drink to me, you never heard the song? And he says, how do you write your songs? He said, I just make them up. And here's the lyrics right here. Here we go. I'm looking at the lyrics right now. I'm going to bring them up here. The grand old painter died last night, his paintings on the wall. Before he went, he bade us well and said good night to us all. Drink to me, drink to my health, I can't drink anymore. Drink to me, drink to my health, I can't drink anymore. You've heard that song.
Yeah, it kind of rings a bell. I was never really into McCartney as a solo artist because without Lennon, I thought he went into the realm of real sort of pablum, and there are very, very few songs that he wrote on his own that I really, really like, and they tend to be the earlier ones.
I think the problem with McCartney as a solo artist, he tended to be too syrupy. He needed somebody with a touch of sarcasm.
Someone's knocking at the door. Someone's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door and let him in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's light years away from Penny Lane.
And think about it this way. He also wrote the theme song for a James Bond movie.
Yes, he did.
And those lyrics made no sense whatever.
Right.
It was just a bunch of crazy words strung together. Of course, Roger Moore, to my mind, never made sense as James Bond. He would not even try to do his own stunts.
No.
He was afraid of guns. He'd just get up there and talk. And even walking, sometimes he'd have a stunt double because they didn't like the way he walked.
Too much information, Gene.
Big fake. Oh, you don't want that.
Well, and there you go. I mean, sometimes the sum total of a collaboration is light years ahead of each individual's output. I mean, John Lennon, as far as I'm concerned, his songwriting really kind of deep sixth for many years until the Double Fantasy album, which he wrote in 3 weeks, which I find amazing. There were, of course, you have Imagine, you have Working Class Hero, and then you have his answer song to McCartney, How Do You Sleep? Which I found quite humorous when I heard it for the first time. But, we digress. I mean, basically what we were talking about is how homogenized and just pre-programmed and, error corrected to death modern pop music is. And, there are some exceptions to that, of course. There's some pretty good bands out there. I could start naming off a few, Arcade Fire, The Killers, My Morning Jacket, I could go down the list. I mean, there are Foster the People. I mean, there are some bands that have kind of their own signature sound and are trying to write things that at least aren't just throwaway pop tunes. But you don't have the lyric depth. You don't have the poetry, of a Dylan, of a Pete Townsend. The songwriting has just the quality of the lyric content has gone so far downhill.
Don't get me started about Taylor Swift. I sampled an album of hers on iTunes. You can get up to like a minute and a half of each song. So you get a sense of each song. And I listened to 5 or 6 of them, and it sounded like one song.
Yeah.
It sounded like one
song.
Millennial
Whoop. Oh.
Is that what it's called? Millennial Whoop? I have to ask Grayson about that.
Yeah, it's in almost every single song. Yo. And, blame it on Sting. He's the one that really got it started in the late 80s. He kind of came up with that whole idea, but they've taken the ball and ran with it, boy, I'll tell you. And there was a great video I posted on my Facebook page that shows how it shows all the, similarities that you are able to pull out of, song after song after song in the last 5 to 6 years. And it's all based on the same basic formula. And many of the songs are written by 2 guys. So there's 2 main songwriters that everybody's kind of going with because they've got this wonderful track record. And it doesn't matter if it's country. It doesn't matter if it's pop. It doesn't matter if it's R&B. These guys they're the ones that everybody's paying big bucks to write them hit songs. And, it's unfortunately, the more water goes under the bridge, the more formalized and formalized our reality becomes. And it's getting to the point where spontaneity and true creativity is being subjugated to the demands and the constraints of the marketplace. And
it's not just about music, folks.
No, it's not. It's about marketing. It's about looking good and wearing the right clothes and being able to be seen at the right events and having the right amount of Twitter followers. And everything is becoming more and more superficial. There's no depth anymore. You don't have Brian Wilson, writing, just gorgeous and introspective songs that will stand the test of time. None of these artists that you hear today are going to be here in 10, 20 years, at least that I can see. I don't see any potential for truly memorable historical, stuff. They're going back and they're using 60s and 70s songs and so many commercials. They whipped out the History Channel for its show coming up on the showing the big events of 2017. They're using the old Buffalo Springfield song For What It's Worth. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there. And those types of lyrics, even though they don't really sound that profound, they've lasted. They've stuck around. They're using them almost 50 years later. They're still using them in really expensive commercials.
I tell you one thing. I'll give you one song, a fairly recent song that reminded me of the old days and just in the lyrics from John Fogerty. It's Deja Vu all over again. Anyway, we had fun. We've got 2 more shows for the remainder of 2017. Next week, we've got Rosemary Ellen Guiley as one of our guests. After a while, she hasn't been on the show, and that will be a fascinating visit with her. And we've got some more excitement coming, so stay with us. Earlier on the show, we had Alejandro Rojas. Of course, he is the manager of the International UFO Congress, and he's got a really interesting group of people, including Robbie Graham, who was the editor of UFOs Reframing the Debate. And that's been one of our active discussions in the Paracast forums, and I really look forward to talking to Robbie personally. I think we're going to have a great little episode when we get together with him. You can find us on Twitter. Now it's 288 characters. And I met all of them in a bar. See, I can do bad humor like the best of them here. And it's the Paracast. Look for the Paracast on Twitter. Look for 2 Paracast fan clubs on Facebook. Look for Chris's blog, OurStrangePlanet.com, and also look for the Paracast Plus. It's a special subscription service where we offer a version of the show free of the network ads. We offer the After the Paracast podcast, where you never know what's going to happen next. We have guests. We have all sorts of excitement going on there. To be able to hear that show, you've got to sign up for the Paracast Plus. Go to plus.theparacast.com. That's plus.theparacast.com. With Gene and Chris, you're in the Paracast.
The Paracast, featuring Gene Steinberg and Christopher O'Brien, is a copyrighted presentation of Making the Impossible, Incorporated. Tune in next week for a new adventure in The Paracast.